Welcome to The Outlet, an OTG production.
What's up, NBA fans? Welcome to another edition of The Outlet. With me, as always, Parth.
What's going on, Nick?
Same old Parth, ready for these rankings. And today at number 18, we have the Dallas Mavericks. Before we talk about the Mavericks, here's a clip from last season.
He's been solid. He's a veteran. Rick Carlisle talked about adding him in the starting lineup. He's going to be fine. Defensively, he can hold his own. And offensively, sneaky, he still has a lot of athleticism left. Well, 8 seconds.
8-second violation there. So again, as Rick
What a careless turnover by Rondo. You know he's going to play really tough defense now that he just turned the ball over like that.
You think he's going to play really tough defense.
Oh, wait, never mind. Whoops.
That's a 5-point swing right there. You possibly could have scored 2 points on the other end. Now Jason Terry gets a wide open 3. That's why Rondo really hurt the Mavericks last season.
That's why Rondo is in Sacramento.
Exactly. So do you think this is a fair ranking for the Mavericks?
I do think it's a fair ranking for the Mavericks. I think their offense will be better than last season. They had a really good offense, and then Rondo came in and then just basically won Defensive Player of the Year by shutting that offense down.
That's a good point.
But their defense was bad last season. I think it'll be even worse this season. So I think 18 is a good spot for them.
Yeah, and there's a lot of unknowns. You know, there's a lot of players like Darren Williams, Wes Matthews coming off an Achilles, Chandler Parsons dealt with injuries, Dirk's getting up there in age. So a lot of unknowns. I feel comfortable putting the Mavs at 18. Let's talk about some of those key returners, though. We got Dirk coming back, J.J. Barea, Parsons, Devin Harris. Who do you think needs to have a big year?
Well, first, before I get into that, I just want to give a shout out to J.J. Barea. I think he had 37 points the other day in the FIBA games, FIBA Americas. I don't know how you do it, bro. Props. But I think Chandler Parsons. I know he didn't play in the playoffs. I don't think. Did he play one game against the Rockets?
He may have, but I know he missed a ton of games last year.
He was out of the playoffs, and then there was a report about him getting microfracture surgery on his knee, and then there was a conflicting report saying he didn't get that. He just had like a scope done. So I don't know what's going on with Chandler Parsons' knee, but hopefully he can come back and live up to that contract that Cuban gave him in the club.
Yeah, I think they really need him to step up and have a big year, kind of get over this injury thing and show them why they gave him that contract he got, I think, an off season or two ago.
Right.
I mean, they also need Dirk to just kind of keep doing what he's doing. They need him, really, and they're going to need one of these guys to step up and be a defender because right now their center situation is kind of ugly. But let's talk about the offseason. They added Darren Williams, Wes Matthews, Zaza Pachulia, Samuel Downbear, JaVale McGee. They drafted Justin Anderson. What do you like?
I love JaVale McGee just because we've missed you on Shaq and the Fool Thursdays. So welcome back. And I also like the pick of Justin Anderson. I think he can be a solid 3-and-D guy for the Dallas Mavericks. And considering that they don't have a pick in next year's draft, I think he was a solid first-round selection for them.
Yeah, he should come in and be able to give him some defense right away. I mean, I like JaVale McGee. Like you said, he's going to be on Shaq and the Fool. The rest of their pickups, they're all kind of scary in a way. Darren Williams, I've watched plenty of him, and I got my hopes in him plenty of times to just be let down. Wes Matthews coming off the Achilles injury, which is really a tough injury to come back from. So it'll be interesting to see how those players work out. What moves do you not like?
I didn't like losing DeAndre Jordan. I didn't like having him and then losing him. That must have been terrible for Mavericks fans. I know they wanted to get over that Monte Ellis era that they had, if you want to call it an era. But he was actually their best player last season, and I think they will miss him. As much as I like Wes Matthews, I think coming off the Achilles, it'll be tough for him to match what Monte Ellis gave them.
Especially scoring-wise.
Right.
Wes Matthews is definitely a better defender, but I don't think he has the same type of offensive game that Monte Ellis has.
Definitely not. And then also losing Tyson Chandler. Going from Tyson Chandler to JaVale McGee, Samuel Downbear, Zaza Pachulia is a big drop-off. And their defense wasn't even good last season. They were ranked 20th in defensive rating with a championship defensive center like Tyson Chandler. So I can only imagine it getting worse.
Just imagine them. They're going to be having to put Dirk out there with possibly Zaza Pachulia or McGee. That's just does not look good for your defensive front court.
Yeah, so their defense definitely got worse. Their offense probably got better losing Rondo, but we'll see.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of unknowns with this Mavericks team. What do you think is the X factor for this team?
I think the X factor will be their defense. Their defense was terrible last season. Their offense was incredibly good at the start, which won them a lot of games. But towards the end, when that offense sort of waned with Rondo, their defense didn't pick up all that much. And so it'll be interesting to see how their defense, if they can play good enough defense to win some games.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a big factor. Also, I want to see how their bench does because they lost some bench guys like Richard Jefferson, Amari Stoudemire, Alfred Aminu. So how they respond to that and how this group of bench players comes, I think will have a big factor on the Mavericks as well.
They also have a ton of injuries. Chandler Parsons coming back from an injury. Wes Matthews coming back from an injury. JaVale McGee coming back from an injury. And I think they will all be core pieces. And, of course, Dirk is getting older, battling father time. And so you can always expect an injury from an older player. And so
Darren Williams is always banged up too.
Right. And so health will really be a concern for this team.
Yeah, it'll be tough year for the Mavs if they don't stay healthy. Best case scenario.
They've made the playoffs the last 2 seasons. They've probably made it longer than the last 2 seasons. I'm probably just forgetting here. But 2 years ago when they challenged the Spurs, took them to 7 games, really entertaining series. Last year didn't really put up much of a fight. As you saw with that Rondo clip, just gave it away to the Houston Rockets. I hope they can challenge Houston just because I love that Daryl Morey, Mark Cuban beef, even though they kind of squashed it during the playoffs last year. But I think the best case scenario would be the 8th seed for this team. I don't think they can do much better than that, though.
Yeah, best case would definitely be the 8th seed, and that would be if all the injuries work. They don't have any injuries. One of these centers is able to actually play some decent minutes as a starter, but it'll be tough for that to happen. Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, D. Will doesn't work out. He's still fighting demons that he has hidden in his beard, and just isn't able to play to his Utah Jazz sort of potential, which I don't think he can do that at all. I think what you saw in Brooklyn is what you'll get in Dallas, and I think Wes Matthews, he struggles with his injury. I'm really happy he got his money because he deserved it. It was probably going to get it with Portland, but unfortunately towards Achilles. So I'm happy he's back, but I don't think he'll be able to play the way he knows he can play just because of the injury. And then Chandler Parsons, I'm worried that injuries will affect him too. So I think the worst case scenario for this team, they miss the playoffs. Their injuries really bite this team, and they're just not very good.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. They missed the playoffs. I would say they have a stretch where all their starters, Darren Williams, Wes Matthews, Chandler Parsons, and Dirk all miss time. I think it would kill this team because of their lack of depth. So, and they don't have their first round pick for next year. So they don't have anything to get into the lottery for. So 8th seed or die pretty much.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the truth.
So for the truth, we have a sack of money, and that's for all the money Dirk Nowitzki left on the table during his last contract negotiation and gave owner Mark Cuban the flexibility to go out and get superstars. And Cuban delivered with Chandler Parsons and Wes Matthews and Darren Williams. I bet Dirk is wishing, hey man, I shouldn't have taken that pay cut. And I know we always love to talk about all these NBA stars and professional athletes taking pay cuts for the betterment of the team. But then we go and hate on LeBron because he goes to Miami, even though he took a pay cut to win. So we as fans need to make up our mind, especially understanding that if anyone if we had to take a pay cut, willingly. Majority of us would not do it with our jobs. And so I know Dirk Nowitzki wishes he still had that little bit of extra cash that he deserves to get.
Exactly. He deserves it, but Mark Cuban couldn't deliver. He got him DeAndre Jordan for 2 days, but it didn't turn out working out. But
Even that, though, like DeAndre keeps the Clippers elite, but he didn't make – his addition to Dallas would not have made them an elite Western Conference team. And so Mark Cuban has just not delivered the big-time free agents like LaMarcus Aldridge and players like that. Even a Chris Bosh probably a couple years ago when he was – or last year when he was on the market. I know him and Houston had a quick fling. But the money Dirk left on the table, Mark Cuban has not delivered the type of free agents that Dirk was hoping to get. Fair
enough. What do you think about the Mavs this year? Are you going to watch them on League Pass?
Well, they have 7 nationally televised games. That's about it. I'm not going to watch more than 7 games with the Dallas Mavericks, even though I'm a big Wes Matthews fan.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch a ton of Mavericks games. I'll just check in to watch Dirk a little bit, but none of the other guys really excite me. Yeah, Wes Matthews is a nice player, but I think he'll have a tough year coming back from that Achilles injury. Would you rather watch the Mavs or Bachelors in Paradise?
Bachelor in Paradise. I actually just saw the final 2 episodes. I randomly was just watching it, and it was hilarious. The intro to that show is it's like something you would get at like 2:00 on ABC. Like it was like that kind of sitcom intro. It's probably much more entertaining than the Dallas Mavericks will be this upcoming season on League Pass. So I'm probably going to stick with Bachelor in Paradise, even though I can't believe I'm saying that.
You heard that, Mark Cuban? You better put some better players on the floor. But thank you guys for listening. And our next team has a worse guard situation than the Phoenix Suns.